everyone, my name is Diya Gehlaut, and today I will be presenting about thrombosis, the silent killer. Starting off with a little bit about myself, I am a rising senior from the International Academy East in Michigan. Outside of the classroom, I have my own nonprofit called Another Hope Science Medicine Scholars, which is aimed towards educating underprivileged children in STEM and medicine topics around the globe. I'm also an avid participant and the president of both my school's Model United Nations team and our HOSA, or Future Health Professionals chapter. Additionally, I am a singles player for my school's varsity tennis team, and I've also developed a passion for research. In the future, I'm excited to continue learning about the medical field and aspire to become a physician, possibly in the field of pediatrics. Now, I would like to begin with this statistic by the National Blood Clot Alliance. Quote, on average, one person dies every 6 minutes from a blood clot, end quote. As you reflect on this statement, realize that this adds up to approximately 100,000 deaths per year just in the United States. Now, this leads us to the next question. How exactly are blood clots formed, and what is thrombosis? Blood has a vital and at times seemingly impossible role in the body, because not only must it continuously flow and nourish our body, but it must also stop this blood flow when we get any cuts or injuries. This makes blood clots a healthy and life-saving thing as they stop unwanted blood. Blood clotting is also the body's first line of defense against bleeding. But when unwanted blood clots are formed, they can be life-threatening. Blood clots form through a series of 4 steps. First, platelets collect at the site of bleeding and form a plug. They're turned on by triggers when a blood vessel is damaged. As seen by the image to the right, they stick to themselves and to the vessel walls and change in shape to create a semi-solid barrier to stop blood from leaking out. Second, the clot continues to grow and proteins in the plasma, known as clotting factors, signal one another to cause a rapid chain reaction. This reaction ends with blood as a long strand of fibrin that is very durable. Third, the reaction begins to slow down as the final clotting factors and the cascade stop the clot from unnecessarily spreading. And fourth, the body breaks down the clot as the damaged tissue is healed. Sometimes the clots do not dissolve properly or they form under incorrect signaling. When a blood clot remains inside the vessel, this can be potentially dangerous and is known as a thrombus. Thrombosis is when a thrombus forms in a blood vessel. This can stop proper blood flow throughout the circulatory system and can lead to conditions such as stroke and heart attack. Thrombosis can occur in individuals of any age, race, gender, and ethnicity. Thrombosis does not discriminate, but it can be prevented and is one of the leading causes of preventable death worldwide. Thrombosis can be identified by where it occurs in the body. Venous thrombosis occurs in the veins, while arterial thrombosis occurs in an artery. Venous thromboembolism occurs when blood clots formed in the deep veins of legs, which is known as deep vein thrombosis, or DVT, travel and stop in the lungs, which is known as pulmonary embolism, or PE. Together, DVT and PE form VTE, which is a very deadly combination. 1 in 4 people worldwide are dying from conditions caused by thrombosis, according to the worldthrombosisday.org. It has been established that thrombosis is an important condition to be aware about and one that is extremely dangerous. But how exactly does it connect to global health? Well, thrombosis affects individuals throughout the globe. In fact, worldwide, quote, 100,000 to 300,000 deaths from blood clots occur each year, which is greater than the total number of people who lose their lives each year to AIDS, breast cancer, and motor vehicle crashes combined, end quote. Despite this, very few people are aware of the condition, which is why it is known as a silent killer. World Thrombosis Day also released this statement saying that only 1 in 10 Americans are concerned about blood clots, and 62% do not know what VTE is. And now, keeping all of this in mind, I was given the opportunity to conduct my own research and wanted to learn more about thrombosis and its treatment. There is currently a lack of research at the molecular level regarding thrombosis, especially considering its hazardous effects and therapeutics. Understanding what is happening better at the molecular level would lead to better formation of therapeutics that would help save more lives. Looking at the image to the right, the clotting cascade is shown in the light gray background. And with one clotting factor initiating the response of another until fibrin is formed. I chose to focus on the factor 10 GLA domain highlighted here because many protein membrane interactions occur there, and because factor 10 is the only clotting factor that connects the intrinsic and extrinsic pathways of coagulation, making it especially important, turning prothrombinase into thrombin. It was hypothesized that by mutating the GLA29 residue, protein membrane interactions would be affected and thrombin generation would decrease, which would also decrease the ability of clot formation. I began to conduct my experiment by activating both factor 10 wild type as a control and then compared it to the mutant. I activated the factor 10 using the external activator known as Russell's Viper Venom or RVV10 and quantified the amount of factor 10A produced. I then used this to conduct an enzymatic assay that produced thrombin. It was then observed that the GLA29 residue and mutant produced approximately 36.1% less thrombin than the wild type, showing that the mutagenesis of the GLA29 residue did affect protein interactions and could possibly reduce clot formation, giving insight into the molecular interactions of the domain, which regulates the clotting cascade and may aid in developing better therapeutics for thrombosis. But this research is just the beginning, as scientists continue to investigate the clotting cascade and try and find better ways to combat thrombosis. But there are steps that we can take right now, including understanding and identifying the risk factors for thrombosis. 3 major risk factors include cancer, hospitalization and surgery, and pregnancy. The risk of thrombosis can be reduced by being active, getting back to activity as soon as possible after surgery, exercising legs during long trips, quitting smoking, losing weight, and managing other health issues, such as diabetes. But there are also treatments out there that exist. Some drugs, such as aspirin, stop platelets from signaling one another so they don't stick together. Anticoagulants are medications that prevent clots from forming and thin the blood. An example is heparin. Thrombolytics are medications that dissolve blood clots. Catheter-directed thrombolysis is a procedure in which a long tube is surgically inserted and directed towards the blood clot, where it delivers clot-dissolving medication. And finally, thromboectomy is the surgical removal of a clot. Altogether, summarizing, know that thrombosis does not discriminate, and be sure to be aware of the risks to help fight this global problem. Also remember to stay safe, as studies have shown that patients with COVID-19 are developing more clots that are more aggressive. Here are all of my references, and I would like to give a special thanks to the entire Global Health Leaders Conference team at Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Morrissey and his entire lab for guiding me through this research process, Dr. Paul for being the best mentor, my family for everything, and you for being here and being ready to listen and ready to fight thrombosis, the silent killer. Thank you.